What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I thought you'd find this article very, very interesting considering everything that I've been teaching you on a Millionaire Morning Show. And it's why Larry Summers wants 10 million people to lose their jobs. Essentially, what they're talking about is you need at least 10 million people according to whatever their calculations are. And I don't know how they came up with the calculations. I just kind of seen the headline and I said, let me share this with my friends, you guys, my family, my Patreon members. If you're not a part of the Patreon, make sure you tap in. Link is in the description. And if you need to kick it with me personally, make sure you email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. But Larry Summers is the former Treasury Secretary, right? And, once they are no longer in that position, they can just kind of say what they want to say when they want to say it. And he's saying that there needs to be a surge in unemployment to curb inflation, which the Federal Reserve policymakers say doesn't need to happen for price growth to cool off. And basically what he's telling you is that it's a lot of people that need to not be able to afford to do what we're doing in order for us to cool off the idea that prices are continuing to go up, which drives down the value of your dollar, because the idea is that the price of a movie ticket today is much different than the price of a movie ticket yesteryear. The price of chicken is different than yesterday. The price of gas is different than yesterday. And inflation is the idea that your money does not go as far as it used to because price growth continues to go up. Essentially what happens is, let's just say, for example, somebody is protesting for $15 an hour, right? And the business owners say, okay, cool. Everybody goes from $2 an hour to $15 an hour. Awesome. And then what they do is they pass that over into the consumer. And then it happens across the board because then we standardize $15 an hour. And so when they pass that over into consumer, it's still not a livable wage because then the prices are higher for everybody. And then the rent goes up and everybody makes more money. And then they can so-called afford more, when in reality, they're just getting pushed further into poverty. But they think that this mythical number of 15 is helping them, and it's not. But Larry Summers is saying we need to get rid of at least 10 million people in the U.S. alone in order for us to be able to fight inflation. We can't just raise the rates, right? We can't just create more jobs. We can't just create more housing. We can't push down the prices or anything like that. We need to get rid of 10 million people. So let's continue into the article. According to Bloomberg News, Summers said in a speech on Monday from London that there needs to be a lasting period of higher unemployment to contain inflation, not even fight it, just to contain it. Put it in this little box right here. A 1-year spike to 10%, 2 years to 7.5%, 5 years of 6% unemployment. You need to lose your job. You need to be the sacrificial lamb. You need to suffer. You need to lose your house. You need to not be able to feed your kids. Because it certainly ain't going to be him. It certainly ain't going to be me. They need you to come off the rolls so that we can contain inflation. Put in a different way, Summers is calling for the unemployed rolls to swell to roughly 16 million from just under 6 million in May. So unemployment, supposedly, we ain't talking about you and your homies working under the table and none of that. We just talking about in a general sense. Unemployment is just under 6 million in May. Okay. President Joe Biden said he spoke with Summers on Monday, with Biden echoing his Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, and the former Fed chief maintaining that a U.S. recession can be avoided. Not that it will be avoided. Not that it must be avoided. Not that we're on the path to avoiding a recession, but it's coming. But it can be possibility that it's going to be avoided. The way Summers framed the numbers suggests he's talking about what's known as sacrifice ratio, the link between unemployment and inflation. According to Jason Furman, a former chair of President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, the sacrifice ratio in the 25 years before the pandemic has been 6 percentage points, meaning 1 year of a 6 percentage point jump in unemployment and 2 years of a 3 percentage point increase in joblessness rate would be required to knock down inflation by a full percentage point, meaning that they need you to lose your job immediately and then sustain that for an extended period of time in order for us to lower the percentage point of inflation from 8.6% and 7.6%. All right. In May, the unemployment rate was 3.6%, which Summers is basically saying he wants the unemployment rate to rise to a level that would knock a full percentage point off of inflation. The Fed favored core PCE price index cooled to 4.9% on a on a year-over-year basis. In April, current Fed Reserve officials don't accept that there needs to be such a stark trade-off. We don't want a whole bunch of people to lose their jobs. What we seeing in the industry today, right now, is that there's a lot of jobs being cut off from middle managers, higher positions, and then they're creating more jobs at the bottom. They want you to be workers. They want you to be manufacturers. They want you to be baristas. They want you to do all those things. You want you to work at Amazon in a warehouse. They want you to go and stock some shelves and be greeters at Walmart, right? They didn't even say that, we need people to take less money or we need there to be a cut. We need there to be a high level of unemployment. And this is what bean counters do, right? And never mind all of the trickle effect and how it's going to affect everything and everything being cyclical or anything like that. The only thing we need is people to lose their jobs. Okay, cool. I got it. Powell, the Fed chair, also said such a stark trade-off wasn't needed. Take, for example, in the labor market. So you have 2 job vacancies essentially for every person actively seeking a job. And that's the current labor market. So they're saying that it's a lot of jobs out here and it's 2 jobs available for every person that want a job, even though we got unemployment, okay? And that has led to real imbalance in wage negotiating, meaning that it's much easier for you to ask for what you want because there is plenty available, but not enough workers to fill these positions. So in order to keep me, you got to pay me more, which continues to raise price growth because it also raises what a job has to pay an employee in order for them to come on board and stick around long enough for them to actually see some benefit. Okay, you can get to a place where that ratio is at more of a normal level, and you would expect to see those wage pressures move back down to a level where people are still getting healthy wage increases, real wage increases, but at a level that is consistent with 2% inflation. So inflation is here, right? It is here to stay. Inflation is not going anywhere. Inflation will forever be a part of our fabric. It is what it is. But what these gentlemen and ladies would like for us to do is to go through a cycle where we're controlling that by removing the availability of jobs, removing the pressure to pay employees more, and they want to artificially control what happens in the market and the economy so that they then can remain in power and continue to get elected. That's my translation of it in layman's terms from a C student perspective. Listen, I'm curious as to what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that there needs to be more people that's losing their jobs? More people. Recession is already at your doorstep, and there needs to be more people that's losing their jobs for us to drive down prices, thus also driving down what we identify as inflation, because inflation is impacted by a lot of different things, not just jobs and wage growth, but definitely impacted by it in 2022 in our economy. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat if you're watching this as a premiere. And make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know what you're thinking. Do we need to drive down inflation by also making sure that we drive down your ability to feed your family? Let me know in the comments.